Shortly before 6 o'clock on Monday evening, police received a report from a residential property in North Belfast. A man had allegedly been seriously assaulted inside the home. Police officers and paramedics arrived at the property in the Duncan Parade area. The injured man was taken to hospital. 3 men were arrested shortly afterward on suspicion of attempted murder. At that moment, this was still officially an attempted murder investigation, but less than 3 days later, everything changed. The injured man died in hospital. Police identify him as 44-year-old Paul Mackin Junior from North Belfast. The investigation was upgraded to murder. Then, before Tuesday was over, detectives announced that a 41-year-old man had been charged with murder, grievous bodily harm with intent, and false imprisonment. These charges remain allegations. The accused is presumed innocent unless found guilty in court. This is the confirmed timeline of the 72 hours that transformed an alleged assault inside the Belfast home into a murder investigation. Paul Mackin Junior was from the North Belfast area. On Monday, the 20th of July, shortly before 6 in the evening, the police service of Northern Ireland received a report that a man has been assaulted inside the residential property in the Duncan Parade area. Police officers attended the property alongside the Northern Ireland Ambulance Service. Paul, who was 44, was taken to hospital for treatment. Police have not publicly released a complete description of what allegedly happened inside the property. They have not confirmed the motive. They have also not publicly explained the relationship between Paul and the people who were arrested. Those unanswered questions are important. They must not be filled with rumors or speculation. What police did confirm was that 3 men were arrested shortly after the emergency response. They were aged 40, 41, and 32. All 3 were initially arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. An arrest does not mean that a person has been found guilty. It means police believe there are legal grounds to detain and question that person while an investigation continues. At that stage, Paul remained in hospital, but on Wednesday evening, the 22nd of July, Paul died. Following his death, detectives from the police service of Northern Ireland's major investigation team upgraded the investigation from attempted murder to murder. Detective Chief Inspector Jenny Ria said the thoughts of the investigation team were with Paul's family during what she described as an incredibly difficult time. Police also issued an important warning. They asked the public to avoid speculating about the circumstances surrounding the case. Investigators said online speculation could cause further distress to Paul's family and friends. It could also damage future criminal proceedings. The warning is particularly important because only a small amount of information has been released publicly. The fact that someone has been arrested or charged does not prove what happened. The evidence must be examined through the legal process. Following Paul's death, police confirmed that the 41-year-old man who had remained in custody was arrested on suspicion of murder. The 33-year-old man was released unconditionally. Subsequent reporting said that the 40-year-old man was also released unconditionally. Being released unconditionally means that the individual was no longer subject to bail condition connected to that arrest. It does not allow anyone outside the investigation to make assumptions about what police discovered during questioning. Later on Tuesday, detectives announced a major development. The 41-year-old man had been charged with murder. He was also charged with grievous bodily harm with intent and false imprisonment. Police said a report would be submitted to the Public Prosecution Service concerning a number of other alleged offenses. The accused was due to appear before Belfast Magistrates Court on Friday, the 24th of July. As with every criminal case, the charges must be treated as allegations unless they are proven in court. The prosecution will be required to present evidence supporting its case. The accused will have the right to challenge that evidence and present a defense. At the time of this video, police have not publicly revealed the complete sequence of events inside the Duncan Parade property. They have not confirmed publicly how long Paul was inside the home. They have not released an official motive. They have not publicly identified the weapon. They have not explained the evidence supporting the false imprisonment charge. That charge is serious, but its existence alone does not establish exactly what happened. Only evidence presented through the legal process can answer that question. This means there are several major parts of the story that remain unknown. What brought Paul to the property? When did the alleged incidents begin? Who contacted emergency service? What did officers discover when they arrived? What evidence caused investigators to make 3 initial arrests? And what evidence led prosecutors to approve charges against one man? None of those questions should be answered through online rumors. The official timeline currently begins shortly before 6 o'clock on Monday evening. Police received a report of an assault. Officers and paramedics responded. Paul is transported to hospital. 3 men were arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. On Wednesday evening, Paul dies. The investigation becomes a murder inquiry. On Tuesday, 1 man is charged with murder, grievous bodily harm with intent and false imprisonment. In approximately 72 hours, the legal status of the investigation changed several times. It began with an emergency report. It became an attempted murder investigation. Then it became a murder inquiry. Finally, serious criminal charges were announced. But a charge is only the beginning of the court process. It is not the conclusion. Paul's death is the central fact behind every police statement and every headline. He was 44-year-old. His family is now dealing with his loss while detectives continue examining what occurred. Police appeal to anyone with information that could assist the investigation to contact detectives. The reference number released for the investigation was 1454, dated the 20th of July. Information can also be provided anonymously through Crime Stoppers. Anyone who has genuine information should give it directly to investigators rather than posting accusations online. This case remains active. Future hearing could reveal further evidence, but information presented in court must be reported accurately and in its proper legal context. Until that happens, the responsible approach is to separate what police have confirmed for what remains unknown. Confirmed fact tells us that Paul Mackin Junior was taken to hospital following a reported assault at a northern Belfast property. He died 2 days later. 3 men were initially arrested, 2 were released unconditionally, 1 man was charged with murder and 2 other serious offenses. Everything beyond those confirmed facts must be handled carefully. Paul's family deserves answers. The accused deserve a fair legal process, and the public deserve reporting based on evidence rather than speculation. This video will be updated if police or the courts release significant verified developments. Until then, the central question remains unanswered. What happened inside that North Belfast home before police received the call shortly before 6 o'clock?